recording. Okay. So I would like to introduce Fang Yi, who is an Assistant Director of Learning, Design, and Technology and Educational Technologist for the UVA Library at University of Virginia. Dr. Is it Katya? Dr. Katya Koubek, who is a professor, Koubek, who's a professor and TESOL coordinator from James Madison University. Dr. Jess Marquardt, who is an instructor and lecturer from James Madison University as well. And Dr. Sevinj Iskandarova, who is an assistant professor at the Nolan School of Business and Professional Studies at Bridgewater College. So thank you everyone for joining, and I'd like to hand over the floor to you.
Thank you so much for introduction, James. It's very nice to meet you, and thank you for having us all here. Yes, and a great introduction, thank you. And as we are starting our presentation, we would love to have also our participants introduce yourselves in the chat. Please write your name, role, institution, and department so we can know that who was our audience and with whom we are collaborating. By saying this, we will start with the Megasocial AI project team. The Megasocial AI project explores use of artificial intelligence in higher education, bringing faculty together from the different institutions in Virginia and graduate students and staff members. The idea is to investigate a variety of subtopics. Main institutions are University of Virginia, George Mason University, James Madison University, Virginia Commonwealth University, Bridgewater College, Washington Lee University, Roanoke College. But we have so many other universities and community colleges are contributing, supporting this project. We are also proud to mention that this project has been funded by Fund for Excellence and Innovation grant from the State Council of Higher Education for Virginia. So since we introduced ourselves, definitely this work cannot be happened without the team. We would like to say thank you to everyone for their hard work and dedication. So what is the outcome from this session? By the end of this session, we really hope that you will have a great recognizing instructors' desires, content, and features in OER on AI in teaching and learning. Also, we hope that you will be better positioned to develop or refine timely OER to meet the real-world needs of instructors. Our research question. Research question number 1, what are the key content areas and features that instructors prioritize in OER regarding teaching with AI? And second question, how effective is OER in enhancing instructors' confidence and competence in integrating AI into their teaching? Our paper presentation have been outlined in 4th section. First, we will introduce you need assessment, identifying the instructors' AI OER needs. We will be introducing OER prototype, which is exploring a newly developed AI OER. And we will be sharing educators' insight, and we will be looking ahead and see what is the discussion will take to your classroom. Need assessment. This need assessment has been done cross-institutional, cross-disciplinary research. 145 instructors has been participated in this study and indicate that they worked within past 2 years in an institution of higher education. The purpose of this need assessment to find out the key content areas and the features that instructors prioritize in OER resourcing regarding teaching with AI. What is this analysis we hope to gain? We wanted to understand that where is the need exactly, and then where is what the instructors are looking for from this OER. By saying this, we found out that teaching efficiency means enhancing teaching efficiency, and meaningful learning means enhancing student learning efficiency was one of the priorities for the instructors. By saying this, let's go deep and dive in to the details. Teaching efficiency Course design, lesson plans, 27% indicated that using OER to improve instructions effectiveness, efficiency, creating diverse prompt tasks, quizzes to enrich teaching materials, improving accessibility of teaching materials. Second part, assessment and the grading and evaluation. 17% of the educators indicated that they would like to integrate AI to reduce their grading workload and assist in evaluation, generate practice problems, provide targeted feedback for student assignment. 9% of the instructors indicated that professional development, staying current is key, and they prefer to use this OER to engage tech-savvy students and guide them to use AI ethically and responsibly. From the learning perspective, meaningful learning, career preparation, 13% of the educators indicate that career preparation to prepare the students for the future workforce is important. And they need to understand that how to use AI ethically, how to engage AI tools ethically, and then how they can use the AI without damaging their critical thinking and creative thinking. By saying this, we wanted to know what kind of challenges, concerns do faculty members face while incorporating AI into their teaching. Two sections, lack of academic integrity, lack of insufficient support has been the one main problems that instructors are facing. And when we say lack of academic integrity, including plagiarism, academic dishonestly, and also lack of integrity also under reducing critical thinking, lack of originality, and information inaccuracy shortcuts. 23% of the educators indicated that issues with plagiarism, academic dishonesty, unauthorized use of AI is challenges. 17% of the educators mentioned that sometimes students rely on AI, leading to reduced critical thinking and originality. 14% indicated that AI can provide incorrect or biased information, complicating grade and learning. From the lack of insufficient sources, educators indicate that 19%, both students and faculty, still lack the necessary knowledge and skills to use the AI efficiently. 10% mentioned that lack of pedagogical support to understand the benefit of AI integration and effective approach. And 8% mentioned that insufficient institutional support, training, and resources for integrating AI is one of the challenges. So by saying that, we wanted to know that what is the style, format that they, topic that they will prefer to have AI. AI literacy, AI pedagogy, AI ethics, three topics were the high-ranked topics that to introduce the OER. And then we ask the next question, what format would you love to have a OER that to make it the interactive learning? Interactive model, online models, adaptability means that openly licensed, modifiable informations, reusable informations. Community features means discussion threads, learning communities for sharing experience and resources were the key format. So by overviewing the need assessment, we understand that there is a limited pedagogical understanding, technical skills, lack of the training and resources pose obstacles to integrate AI into the classroom. We also understand that AI literacy, AI pedagogy, AI ethics are the most important topics to include AI into the resources. And we also understand that instructors' desires interactive, adaptable, and the community crowdsourcing format, which is making the OER an ideal format for developing AI resources. By saying this, we are going to explore a newly developed AI OER prototype based on the need assessment. Fang?
You're on mute, Fang.
Sorry. So thanks, Sevinj, and thanks, Jess. So based on all of the above needs assessment results Sevinj just has shared with you all, we learned about faculty's desire for an openly licensed resource to help them foster AI literacy among their students. So we've designed and developed an OER prototype, and now I'd like to walk you through the following key features of the OER. So next slide, thanks. So first, we developed this AI literacy framework that forms as the backbone of our content. So we noticed that when talking to instructors, they all recognize that, recognize the importance of AI literacy, but still, they have difficulties articulating what AI literacy means and what knowledge and skills their students need. So we want to clearly outline what essential AI competencies are to provide more clarity and guidance. So this framework is like our roadmap. Each competency connects to specific chapters in the resource. Now I would like to dive a little bit deeper into this framework and just give you a brief overview of how the framework is organized. So we have 3 levels, and each level includes 4 topic areas. With ethics always present because ethical considerations evolve as skills advance, and we also learned how much educators value AI ethics. And level 1 forms our foundation. It covers basic AI terms and concepts, basic essential vocabulary and knowledge you need to understand about how AI works, its capabilities, and its limitations. And level 2 focus on application. So basically that means using AI tools effectively. So here we cover selection and application of AI tools, prompt engineering, and developing the skills to achieve specific outcomes. So this is where their foundational understanding of AI transforms into effective practice. And level 3 is where integration happens. So at this level, students critically evaluate and reflect on AI outputs, their biases, and ethical considerations, and also evaluate the impact on students' learning beyond the immediate task. So this level focuses on critical thinking and creativity. So finally, I'd like to highlight the progressive nature of this framework. That's why we call it a progressive AI literacy framework. Basically, it moves from information acquisition to skill enhancement and finally to integration. So this gives our framework a natural progression while keeping learning path flexible. Students don't necessarily need to master everything at one level before exploring concepts from the next. But this framework helps educators think about how to scaffold the learning process to move students from basic understanding of AI to critical thinking and creative use of AI. Next slide, please. So you will also in our OER find within these chapters, we develop these interactive modules based on the needs assessment to build educators, AI knowledge and skills for each of the topic and the competencies we outlined in the framework. And next slide, please. And to provide pedagogical support, every chapter includes a reflect and apply section with educator competencies, reflection questions, and best practices and tips. This bridges the gap between understanding AI concepts and actually teaching it effectively. So to make this even more relevant to each instructor's unique teaching context, we've included a selection of real-world examples for each level of our AI literacy framework so that instructors can get inspired and adapt these examples to their teaching context. We also recognize that instructors may feel overwhelmed when faced all these competencies. They may be wondering, so where do I even start? So that's why we created these step-by-step guides that walk instructors through the process of integrating AI literacy into their existing courses. And finally, perhaps more importantly, we've learned how educators value community features. So we built in these discussion boards as our community features so that they can contribute to this work and also hear others' thoughts. We know that teaching with AI is evolving rapidly, and we need everyone's insights to keep this resource current and relevant. And we hope the community feature can help with that. Okay, so that's a very fast, brief overview of all the key features of the OER. Now we would like to pause a little bit and give you a few minutes to explore the AI literacy framework on your own. Basically, you can click on any competency to check out specific guidance for both the students and educators. And while you're exploring the framework, we welcome you to jot down your thoughts in the Google Doc that Jess just shared. so that you can share your immediate impressions with us and also see how your impressions compare to other participants. So basically, we want you to think about these 3 questions. From looking at the AI literacy framework, what is most helpful to you? What topics or competencies are missing? And how might this be made more relevant? So we'll spend a couple minutes and let you explore on your own. Feel free to let us know if you run into any issues with accessing the framework.
We'd also be happy to answer any questions you have while you're doing this.
Yes, and by the end, you will have access to a form where after you fill out the form, you will be able to access our prototype. I will share that at the end of the presentation. For now, we will let you to just explore the AI literacy framework. So now after you explore the framework, we would appreciate if you could share some thoughts in the Google Doc. Thanks so much for sharing your thoughts. As you type, I can highlight some of the comments in the doc. It seems like the section on each criteria is helpful, and some participants find the framework simple, useful, and some people find they like how we separated the competency for both instructors and students. Yeah, that's a feature, is unique for our AI literacy framework, although we got the inspiration from another Agile cause AI literacy framework. So once you have access to the OER, you will learn about some of the popular AI literacy frameworks we studied and researched, as sort of the foundation for our AI literacy framework. So we didn't reinvent the wheel from scratch. And one participant suggested linking to example activities and assignments. Yes, we thought about that. For us, we think the framework itself is more about overview of the competencies, whereas the OER serves as an additional resource to help faculty understand, what activities you could utilize and integrate into your classroom. That's why in my previous section, I talked about, each level will have a chapter on classroom examples. That's how we're linking to the specific activities and assignments. And the responsible use checklist, that's interesting. Yeah, that's an interesting thought. Yes, I'm glad, some of you are interested in explore the OER further. Certainly, we think just having a framework is not enough. We really need to translate those abstract framework into something practical that for educators to be able to integrate into the classroom. So that's why our OER is developed around this framework, but providing more sort of content resources to support this application part.
Would you like to expand a little bit about responsible use for checklists? What do you think? What would that incorporate or encapsulate for you?
Yeah, I'm curious as well. Whoever wrote that, if you feel convenient to unmute and maybe share your thoughts.
Or type, either one. That's
Okay, yeah, in the interest of time, maybe I would just suggest that if you like to share more, feel free to drop your thoughts in the chat. Now I would like to pass over to Jess. Again, thanks so much for sharing your feedback in the Google Doc. And now, Jess will provide an overview of the feedback we gathered from our research participants so that you can compare yours with our results and see similarities and differences. Okay, Jess.
Yep. So we had did a similar process with educators in Virginia. So next slide, please. And we did this via an instructor survey. We distributed this via the State Council of Higher Education for Virginia listserv, and this happened in May or June of this year. And we asked our participants to do 3 things. We asked them to review the progressive AI literacy framework, just like you all just did, and provide feedback on both its relevance and its usefulness. And then we asked them to review the table of contents of the OER and provide feedback on the content of it and its overall structure. And then we asked our participants to explore at least one chapter of the OER and provide feedback on that as well. Feedback on its structure, its accessibility, and its usefulness for the individual itself. So we had 75 instructors respond to our survey, and these included faculty, staff, and undergraduate students. And we had a pretty good split, 50-50, between both 4-year and 2-year institutions in Virginia. Of our respondents, 53% of those people had over 15 years of teaching experience, and about 10% had not tried AI tools whatsoever before. Looking at other demographics of participants, when we look at their primary disciplines, we had a good range across a broad variety of disciplines. So here's kind of this percentage split out of that. We had folks from the social sciences, the humanities, English and writing, the natural, physical, and health sciences, then the computer and data science, IT and cybersecurity, business, economics, and finance. All of those range from about 11 to 17%. And then mathematics was about 7%, education discipline about 6%, and then a 4% response from the libraries discipline. So the first thing we asked them for was feedback on the AI literacy framework itself, and we had them respond in two ways, both qualitatively and quantitatively. So we had some Likert scale questions, and then we also had some open-ended questions. So overall, the response to the progressive AI literacy framework was very positive. Here are our breakdowns of that, with the green bars being either agree or strongly agree, the orange bars being neutral, so neither agree nor disagree, and then the blue bars being either disagree or strongly disagree, and these are given in percentages. So the first set of bars there on the left, we asked if the framework itself was useful, and that response to that was overwhelmingly positive at 80%. And then the next was, did they find the framework comprehensive? Again, at 65%, strongly agree or very strongly agree. They found the framework was clear, which is the next set of bars. It was practical, and they found it relevant to their teaching in their discipline, which is that last set of bars at 64%. And then we asked them, go ahead and go to the next one, Sevinj. And then we asked them about what they found most relevant to their discipline and then least relevant. And this was pretty variable depending upon their discipline, but most relevant aspects, the biggest or most relevant itself was the structure of the framework itself, so the hierarchy structure, and then the explanations given. Most everyone liked the fact that the ethics were embedded at all of the levels of the framework. They appreciated that there was application and use of AI in the classroom examples. And then a lot of the respondents appreciated that level one, the basic knowledge of the framework and the basic knowledge of AI. If we look at the other side of that, some of the least relevant aspects, again, depending upon discipline, was the creation aspect of AI. So using either creating AI itself or creating things like chatbots or programming didn't necessarily apply to everyone. The second thing was what we called the AI timeline. So although it was interesting, they didn't necessarily think the history of AI or the future of AI was necessarily relevant to themselves. The other category, one of the main inputs there was, it wasn't that the AI literacy framework wasn't relevant, but they didn't actually think AI itself was relevant to their teaching or it wasn't useful. And then the last one was that they didn't think necessarily that like the educational framework such as Bloom's taxonomy was terribly relevant. The next thing we asked for in our open-ended questions was whether they found most effective for the OER elements. And these were split kind of relatively equally at about 30%-ish into three categories. And that was the effective content in the OER, the effective resources, and then the actual OER visuals themselves. So if we look at that first category, the content, they really enjoyed having those tools to choose. They thought, again, that the ethics embedded in all of it was important, the course design itself, and then those prompting techniques and examples were given were very important. The second one in the effective resources, they appreciated that there were both case studies and research works that gave examples that helped further elaborate on concepts. They appreciated the guidance to the faculty themselves, And then they also appreciated that there were AI classroom assignments and activities given that could be used in the classroom. And then the last category here was effective visuals. And that was how the OER itself was presented. So they appreciated the videos that were in the OER, the infographics and the tables, and then the clarity of the OER. So the headings, the drop-down menus, the sections and subsections, how it was broken out, and then the interactive elements. So there were things like interactive quiz questions, flashcards, and the overall presentation that the participants of the survey really appreciated. And basically this kind of broke out into all these questions into two main things. The participants either wanted tools that they could directly use in their classrooms, or they wanted ease of use and ease of finding things very quickly, very easily in the OER itself. So the last thing we asked then with our open-ended questions is how would they improve the OER? And again, it falls back into those two things. What can I use and how can I access it readily and easily? So one of the main categories here was to provide more examples and more practical applications. So they wanted more examples added, more extended case studies to help illustrate concepts. They would also like to see more specific examples of AI assignments to enhance understanding. And often they wanted discipline-specific things of that. On the flip side of that, they wanted to avoid contact overload and complexity. So if there was extensive content, they wanted concise summaries rather than extensive frameworks. On all of the videos, they wanted summarizations of those videos, wanted clarity added to the implications of the AI advancements rather than reading through everything, and they wanted us to offer more guided explorations of those things. And then other feedback to improve it was to actually improve the content and structure of the navigation. So some folks felt that there was too long of bulleted lists. They wanted to integrate examples directly into the OER rather than providing links out to such things. Some people thought there was too much clicking and scrolling, so they just wanted it listed out and recommended that the layout stay consistent and check for user friendliness of navigation across each section of the OER. And then the last suggestion we had was a faculty networking platform. So they wanted an interactive bit such as a crowdsourcing platform to connect faculty together. And they especially wanted something where folks with similar disciplinary backgrounds or teaching contexts could connect and share their ideas, share their assignments, and keep this as a ever-evolving place to share their work. So those are our results, and the next question is, what's next? And I'll let Katya take over here.
Thank you, Jess. So as we're looking ahead, we wanted you to discuss either via chat or unmute yourself. Please, next slide. How is this aligned with what you have experienced based on this survey presentation, your experiences with the AI related resources? How are your experience related or aligned with what you've just heard? But before I let you express yourself either in writing or orally, I'd like you to know that because there was in the chat as I was reading a comment like, can we have access to that? And so good news is we're going to release what the team has been working on by September 1st. However, if you'd like to have the access, we would like you to click on that, and I'm sure one of my team members has probably already put it in the chat, tiny URL. or contact information so we can provide some guidance, answers to any of your questions. So, and as you've heard, this is evolving OER resource. So all the information what you've shared also helps us as we continue moving forward. So now, because as we understand, like sessions are effective when we can reflect on our own experiences. So we would like to give you this chance to do either orally or in writing. And so think about what you've just heard about all the ideas which have been shared based on this survey, and how does your experience with AI related resources align what you've just heard? You can unmute yourself. This is your time. This is your experience. So you can unmute yourself or you can share via chat, whatever is convenient to you.
And if you have specific questions about the OER, now would be a time for that too. Fang was part of the creation team of that, so she can talk us through some of those things.
Yes, and feel free to use the chat if you would like to ask your question that way.
I'm curious because some of the participants shared in the chat that evaluate either should be on level 2 or should be embedded in every level of the framework. So if any of you want to unmute and then share your thoughts about your suggestion or anything else you thought about. I could also consider doing a screenshot, sort of screen sharing of the Pressbook prototype if you want to take a look at it, because basically our entire OER will be ready. The first sort of launch will be ready by September 1st. So after you fill out the form, I will be able to send you a link to access it. But currently, it only contains 3 parts for our research purposes. That's why we don't want to provide you the access right now. But you can certainly fill out the form, and we will be able to share the first launch by then. But our goal is we will continue to iterate on this OER content based on the feedback, because we haven't got a chance to really incorporate all the feedback we gathered this summer into this initial launch. So we really welcome anyone's inputs and feedback on both the framework and the resources in the content in the OER. Would you like me to do a screen share of the OER? Would that be helpful to generate more questions?
I think that would be great. Thank you so much for doing that.
Sure. Happy to share now. Okay. Can you all see my screen? Great. So yeah, so basically, this is our OER. Once you have access to it, you'll be able to see this page. Like I mentioned, this is still early stage. And then here you'll be able to view the content. And for those of you who are not familiar with Pressbook, Pressbook is a popular platform for, developing open educational resource. And we luckily at UVA have some licenses. And so we utilized the Pressbook platform. So when you click on Read Book, that will direct you to our OER resource. And on the left bar, you will see sort of the navigation of all the contents. Like I said, this is only a prototype, but in the final version, we'll have a section for level 2, level 3, and another part for course adaptation. And the first part is really just some introduction to the resource, and you will also find our needs assessment result in this part. And then this is the AI literacy framework section. Like I mentioned, we actually, to develop our AI literacy framework, we research a lot of the popular frameworks and sort of trying to evaluate their pros and cons and use that to develop our own framework. And in terms of navigation, we have, this is basically the organization of our content. We'll have an introduction, and this is the interactive module screenshot that you saw. And this we developed using a tool called H5P. And for those of you who are not familiar with H5P, it's an open source tool that allows educators to develop interactive content. Here you can easily navigate and then be able to read the text. Because one problem we see when we are evaluating other people's OER on AI is that it's basically a long block of text, and then you have to keep scrolling. And also we learned from the needs assessment survey that educators want things to be interactive. That's why we thought H5P would be great for developing these content, but also H5P is aligned with the open pedagogy where, once you get access to our OER, you can download, any of these H5P content and you can import to your own. So if you have a H5P platform, at your institution, you can easily just download and host at your site. So that's another reason why we chose H5P for developing these resources. But at the same time, we definitely received some feedback from faculty saying, there's a lot of clicking to navigate. Again, it's hard to, I think, make it work for everyone. But that's how our content was initially organized. And then once you have access, you can explore some of the popular framework that we have explored. In particular, like I said, the EduCause one, they have developed, literacy for educators, staff, and students. And that's how we got into inspiration that I think educators need to know what competencies they need to foster among themselves to be able to teach their students effectively. And then we did some comparison of these frameworks. So this is the section we'll learn more. And again, like I said, when you have access, you can also learn about why we developed our framework this way. And in fact, we adapted our framework based on another framework developed at the Barnard College. And then they have these 4-level structure where we felt like, and then they also mentioned Create AI is a level where most educators don't find it relevant. That's why we combine it to level 3. But even that, I think still many educators find maybe that's not something essential to their teaching, probably except, some disciplines like computer science. And then for the rest of the, we call it parts for the OER, we will have associated resource for each level of the competency. And if you go into each level, we try to develop each chapter that will be aligned to each of the competency. So for example, understanding AI concepts, this is where you will learn about some of the essential AI concepts. We also include some videos for developing that knowledge. But this reflect and apply section clearly outline the core competencies for educators. And we include some reflection questions for educators to think about after going through the content. And this is the Padlet tool that we use for creating this community feature, where all faculty can share their thoughts around some of the reflection questions. And finally, we have this classroom example section. This is where I said, we're linking to some examples we see that could be adapted for different teaching contexts. And here you can take a look at our example overview. We also suggest, have some recommended use of this resource and the link where you can explore this more. So that's an overview of what we have developed. And we also have a form where we hope that educators could also contribute your developed resource that we can link to, or other things that you find useful for other educators. So in the end, we really believe in this crowdsourcing feature of open educational resources that we think we will benefit from each other's work. So hopefully, once we launch this OER, there will be more educators involved into developing this resource. Okay, so I will pause here and see if there are any other specific areas you want to take a look at, or other questions you have. I saw some comments in the chat, so I want to just pause and then answer them. So is there a free version of H5P? Yes. H5P is open source, although hosting H5P, you probably need to pay for hosting if your institution that doesn't have a platform for you to host your content. Yes, so our H5P also integrate with Canvas. So that's something we thought about, even though our sort of audience for this OER is faculty, but we also thinking some of the content we developed can be adapted for students' use. So the idea is if an educator knows how to use H5P, they download it, they can modify the content, basically maybe removing things they don't think their students need to know, and then use that, embed in Canvas, for example, that their students can use directly. Great. I also saw a comment about creating AI is still very relevant. Yeah, that's something I'm debating right now because I think it might be the wording of that competency scares off of some of the faculty thinking it's not very relevant. But when I'm talking about creating AI, it's not really at the programmer level. It's really thinking about, even utilizing custom bots, where ChatGPT can easily create. And those things can be learned in 10 minutes and it can really benefit a lot of educators. So that's how I'm thinking about creating AI. But still, we need to think about, how to word it so that it doesn't feel like high level skills that most educators don't find relevant. Design AI? Yeah, maybe that's another word we can consider. Good idea. Thanks. Okay, we'll pause here. See if you all have other questions.
Please, if you're interested in collaborating, please contact us via that email. We're always looking for collaborators to join us.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for all of your work. This has been fantastic, and that Pressbooks OER content looks fantastic. Looks very easy to navigate, and it looks beautiful. I'm sure many people will agree with that.
And as you can see, there are a lot of contributors to the project. Some of us are researchers, some of us are developers. So it's been really an exciting project to be working with such exciting educators and professionals. So if you're interested in, as Jess said, collaborating, sharing, please reach out.
Yeah, I saw the question, what would you be looking for potential collaborators to do, areas to address? Yeah, that's a great question. I think the immediate need would be recommending resources. So if you think you have come across any resources that you think it would be great to, include in this OER, would love to, have your suggestions. But also, I think even if it's your own developed example, that would be great too, because I think the difficult part for us is really finding classroom examples at this point. There are some, research done, but slowly on showing, effectiveness or some of the classroom activities, but those are hard to find. So I think cross-sourcing, especially in different disciplines. In some discipline, like I work very closely with many language instructors, it's easy for me to find resources around language instruction using AI, but not so much in, for example, STEM education. So I think if you are in those discipline and, experimenting, those examples will be valuable for other educators as well.
Okay, thank you, everyone. We really appreciate it. It's been fantastic. And yeah, please reach out to the presenters if you have further correspondence that you would like to do, because I know many people would be interested in supporting you. And also, yeah, I'm going to end the session now, so people have 5 minutes to prepare for the next session. But this has been fantastic. And we want to say thank you one more time.
Thanks so much, everyone, for coming and joining us on a Saturday. We really enjoyed the presentation as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, bye. Have a great rest of the day.